Back in August, white nationalists and counter-protesters clashed in Charlottesville. We've seen the pictures and the deadly results, but the core issue was the removal of Confederate monuments. We've already seen statues of Confederate leaders taken down in New Orleans, Dallas, and other cities. Just last week, DeKalb County commissioners voted to remove a Confederate monument from downtown Decatur. Tonight, a special committee met in Atlanta to hear what the public thinks about the city's Confederate-named streets and memorials. We got a look at the preliminary list tonight, 7 monuments, 13 streets, and Chris Hopper was at that meeting, joins us tonight with the details. Chris?
So, Vinny, of course, when we learned about this committee, we wanted to know which monuments, which streets would end up on it. Well, this one right here is actually on that list, Confederate Avenue here in Atlanta. There's quite a few monuments and street names on the list that we saw tonight. Let's first look at those monuments. As you mentioned, there are 7 of them. The Peace Monument in Piedmont Park is one. The Confederate Obelisk in Oakland Cemetery is another. Again, there are 7 monuments on this list, the preliminary list so far. Let's move on to the street names. You'll see there are 13 of those on this list. That one that I mentioned, of course, Confederate Avenue, where we are in Atlanta tonight, but 13 on that list that you're seeing right there. And this is just a preliminary list. Remember that. Now, of course, the public input is really the important piece to this. People for and against the removal of Confederate monuments and street names. We heard some of those people speak tonight. We wanted to make sure that you heard as much of it as possible. Go ahead and take a listen.
Without equivocation, Confederate memorials and street signs serve the sole purpose of celebrating and honoring those who terrorized and enslaved our parents, their parents, and their parents' parents.
What country celebrates a failed insurrection against itself?
The Confederacy existed to divide this country and to defend the practice of slavery.
I would caution against any universal approach to all markers and monuments and plaques and street names. Instead, I ask you to establish a policy that will consider each marker or statue or monument individually.
I and the Old Guard Command believe this monument represents one of the best efforts made by the Southern states toward the amicable reunification of the United States after the Civil War ended.
If we knock down these statues, we're knocking down history. Is it a bad history? Yes. Was it a violent history? Was it terrorism? Yes. Were we enslaved? Yes. But like Tom Hanks said a couple of weeks ago, if you want to know what's going on, look at your history. Why are these things happening?
Chris, what happens next?
So there's a meeting in a week from now where there'll be more public input. A week after that, they'll vote on a preliminary plan that'll go back to City Council. But they want more time. We heard that from committee members tonight. They definitely want more time to make this decision. If you want more information on this, we have it on our website, 11alive.com. You can weigh in there as well. Vinny.
All right. Thanks so much, Chris.